Hi everyone, this is Brian from Provision Studios, and today we're going to make a video to show how to create an aggregate device on a Mac uh, computer. So what we've got here is we have an analog hybrid console called the Soundcraft Signature 22 multi-track recorder, and I am going to create a combo device along with the PreSonus Studio Live 3. This is the new third generation of the Studio Live 32 console. In fact, it's called the 32SC. And what this does is this allows us to use the recording of our audio on either one of the two surfaces, and then mix it in the box on the Studio Live as a control surface. So we're able to recall our mix, make automation, whether it's volume panning, effects, whatnot on the actual console, and then recall that after we end our session for the day and come back later, a week, a month, whatever, and when that session is immediately recalled on the Studio Live console, so we don't have to worry about, like on the Soundcraft console, if you change any of the movements that you've made on the Soundcraft, and then you go back and you mix another song, you have to reset the console the way it was if you mixed on it. Whereas opposed on the Studio Live, you don't have to worry about that. It'll whatever mixing you do on the console inside of Pro Tools or Logic or PreSonus Studio One, whatever you're using, it'll be recalled on the mixer. All right, so you can see the advantage of having it set up that way. And then the reason why we are using the Soundcraft and we're wanting to continue to use that is because when we're done mixing, we analog sum our stems back through the console, or just we can analog sum our tracks back through. I like to do stems, and I have plenty of videos showing the process that I do there. But anyway, real quick, I'm going to show how we do an aggregate device, and I'm going to bring up Pro Tools and show how I'm going to stem mix through the console and go from there. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do inside of inside of your Mac is you're going to want to go to your Launchpad. You're going to want to open up your audio MIDI setup, and then you're going to see all of your audio devices right here. We've got the Studio Live, which is 64 in, 64 out, and then you're going to see we also have our Soundcraft, which is 24 in, 22 out. And what we've got is they are both running into my Mac via USB. So they're both connected right now. And then what we're going to do is you get this plus sign right here. This is what you use to add a new device or a new interface. So you click there, and it's going to say create aggregate device, create multi-output device, or connect AirPlay. Anyway, create aggregate device is what you want. You click on that. All right. So this is the device. This is the window that's going to open up once you select create aggregate device. So at this point, you're going to select your audio devices, and this is important here. This step, if you want to be able to make this work with the Soundcraft Signature Series console and then some other interface, it doesn't have to be the PreSonus Studio Live. That's just the new console I got. It could be any other interface that you have. You have to select the Soundcraft first. So you're going to go to under your Use column. You're going to go down to where the Soundcraft Signature console is, and you're going to select it. It is going to populate right here with all of the ins and outs of the Soundcraft Signature console, and then the next one you're going to select is the other device you want to pair with it. In this case, your Studio Live is what I have. You're going to see, so all of your channels are now available up here in the window. All right, now I've already created one right here. So I've already got mine populated, and that's how it's done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go inside of Pro Tools, and I'm going to open that up, and we'll be right back. All right, so here we are inside of Pro Tools. I'm going to select a song. This is a song that I wrote called "The Fire That Burns Within." We'll get ready to release it here in the next couple days, and it was recorded and mixed here at Provision Studios, and it was pre-mastered, running the stems through the console. And I'm going to show you that process of creating my pre-mastered stereo file through the Soundcraft console that is being used as an aggregate device along with the PreSonus Studio Live console. All right, so here's the session. First thing you want to do once you have created your aggregate device and you've opened up your DAW, you're going to in Pro Tools you're going to go to Playback Engine. You want to make sure that in the Playback Engine it is your aggregate device or whatever you name it. You can name it New Interface or whatever. So you make sure it's on your aggregate device and you click OK. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Setup again and click on I/O. And what this is going to do is this going to allow you to determine what inputs and outputs are labeled and what they're connected to digitally. All right. So first off, the first series of inputs are going to be the Soundcraft's analogs 1 through 22 in stereo pairs. So and then the rest of it is going to be the Studio One or whatever your interface is. Next, that was the outputs. Next, on your input tab, you're gonna have analog 1 through analog 23 or 24, in which I've renamed my analog 23, 24 print, because that's my print back into my studio session. You don't have to do that. You can keep yours analog 23, 24. You can name it whatever you want. I name mine print because that's what it is. It is the print return from the console back into your DAW. All right. And then on your buses, you just want to make sure that they're all, it says mapping to output. You just want to make sure they all are mapped properly. And if they're not, just hit default. The default button will default the buses to what the setting is on the console. And that's a safe way to do input and output as well. All right, so once that's done, you're set up. The I/O for your aggregate devices, both the Signature console and the Studio Live console, are now joined together. So they are a seamless from 1 to 1 through 24, and then 1 through 64 on the Studio Live are all now one console. All right. So the next step is you want to create your routing from your mix to your console, because right now we're mixing in the box. Now we want to analog sum. So I'm going to jump over to my mix window, and we are going to route all of our buses back into the console in stereo pairs. So we want to make sure on the Soundcraft console that the USB return is engaged across the board. And in this case, we are going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12. So we've got 6 stereo pairs that we are routing audio from the DAW into the console. So I've got my bass bus is coming through analog 1 and 2. My acoustic guitar bus is being routed to analog 3, 4. My lead guitar bus is being routed to analog 5, 6. My pad bus is being routed, along with my percussion bus, are going through analog 7/8. My piano bus, my synth bus, and my string bus are all going through analog 910. And finally, my effects. In this case, the song is using a reverb and delay. Those are routing through 1112. So I've got the entire mix being stemmed through the console in stereo pairs. And then on the console, I have the odd number tracks panned to hard left, and the even number tracks panned to hard right. And the faders are up to 0. So I'm at 0 on the board. All right. Then each stereo pair, I'm not sending it to the master, I'm sending it to my group 1, 2. So I have group 1, 2 pressed down on all 6 of those stereo pairs. And then I've got that moved up, and I'll show you what we're doing there. All right. So, and again, all that done is output. I'm clicking output, and I'm selecting from my output list, which was all this information is based on what we entered in the I/O setup we did a minute ago. All right, so now I'm going to go back over to my edit window, and I'm going to make sure that I want to set my session up properly. So I'm going to recreate this right here again. What I basically did is I go track new, and I want to create one stereo aux track, and then the name of it defaults to aux. I named mine print bus, so I know when I'm looking at the session that is the aux track or the bus that the mix is returning back to. In this case, I'm just going to name it aux, so we can differentiate it from the one that we created earlier. All right, now what we want to do here on our print bus that we just created, that aux track, under our input, we want to make sure that we select analog 2324. That is the print return from the console back to the DAW. In this case, in the I/O, I renamed that print. So there it is. So I'm selecting that. And then my output, I'm going to go scroll down to new track. And that's going to create this new track window. I want a stereo audio track, and you're going to want to name that print track or whatever it is that you're going to know that that's what you're printing the console mix back to. All right. I'm going to leave this named audio 1 in this case again, so we can differentiate that from the other tracks. So we can see now the aux we created, its input is our print return from the console, and it's being routed out to this new audio track we created, and then that is going to go to our master out. All right, so the next thing you want to do is you want to take your new audio track, and you want to hit the input button because you want to monitor to make sure your level's coming in. So you can see right here, our meters are moving. We know audio is coming through. All right, so there we are. We know we've got audio feeding through. And the next thing we want to do is we want to check our level. We want to make sure that the level we're printing is the level we want it to be. And at that point, we can make mixing adjustments here on the console. We can increase our level at the group bus stage. We can increase our level at the master out to get our level up or our mix the way that we want it to be printed. Now again, this is our final pre-mastered mix. So this has been approved from your client. All the changes have been made. All we're doing now is we're making that final file that we are going to go and then master from. So this is it. We're not going to go back now from here and change things. We're making sure that we've already done all of the, I want my guitar solo here, and we want to have the effects this way, and all that has already been determined. The final mix has been approved. What we are doing now is we are creating our final pre-mastered mix that will be mastered. All right, so I'm going to arm that audio track for recording, and we are going to click record in the in Pro Tools so that we record the new track that's going to be the console mix being printed back into Pro Tools. I can make changes on the fly to the mix. There's dry. No effects right now. I just turned off the effects. That's reverb and delay that have been removed. Effects are back in. I can take out the acoustic guitar. No acoustic guitar. Again, I can do this on the fly. Lead guitar is 5/6. I can take the lead out. No lead. So you can mix on the fly to add automation and such to your track as you go along. All right, anyway, that's the idea. Then when you're done, you select your track. You make sure that it's selected here. That's deselected. That's selected when it's grayed out or darkened. You're going to scroll over to your clips bin, and you're going to find the highlighted file. You'll see it right here. So audio1_01. That is the track we just created. You're going to right-click on it with your mouse. You're going to go to Export Clips as Files. And then the Export Selected window will come up. And again, this is our pre-mastered final mix. So we want to choose our destination and our file type and then click export. I'm not going to do this because I've already printed my final pre-master, and it would be redundant for me to do it at this point, but that's the step you would go to there. If you have any questions about this process, or you'd like to see a more in-depth run through of what I'm doing, then just leave a comment in the video description, or you can email me at bbuck822@gmail.com. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. I've been away for a while. There was extensive damage to my home and property from Hurricane Michael that was over a year ago, and we're just now starting to get things back in our life to a sense of normalcy. We just had Thanksgiving at our home. We had our family come over, and it was a joyous and momentous event because it was the first time we were able to actually have people come to our home since the damage from the hurricane. So anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. I'm glad that all of my subscribers have been sending me messages saying we're so sorry, and we appreciate all of your hard work on your channel. So I can't tell you guys how important it was through that process of my life to have your support and your continued enthusiasm for the videos I make. It really meant a lot to me, and it'll continue to mean a lot to me because that's you guys are the reason why I do what I do. So without further delay, you guys have a great evening. You'll see some more videos from me real soon. All right, everyone, have a great evening, and God bless. Bye-bye now.